and welcome back to Let's Play Persona 3. Welp, we're just about at the end. Obviously, we're in Tartarus right now, though this is not going to be a Tartarus-focused video. We just have a couple loose ends to tie up. First and foremost, saving the missing people, and there is also a kitty for us to rescue. And then there's one more bonus boss that we can take on within the scope of a normal playthrough that wouldn't leave me too overleveled for the final boss, so may as well take care of that, right? And then after that, well, it's going to be the end to Iwatodai for this playthrough. Not really going to be anything else for us to see. We've maxed out all the social links, all the linked episodes, all the hangouts, and all that's left is to march on to the game's end, which is going to be quite the affair in and of itself. So it's not like the Let's Play is close to done. Well, obviously, we also have the answer to get to, so still quite a lot left for me to do. Before we actually get into Tartarus proper, though, there is one miscellaneous loose end I can grab up right now, and that is...
Well. It seems that you've discovered every social link and formed strong bonds with them all. For you to have possessed this many bonds, you must have donned numerous faces. With such an extraordinary propensity for change, perhaps you may be able to harness a greater power. The power of infinity. Take this with you.
I almost feel like Igor was giving me a bit of a backhanded compliment there. Regardless, upon maxing out every social link in the game, including the Eon and the Judgment social link that we just recently got, we gain the Colorless Mask.
I do believe you are now capable of summoning a particular persona. But what persona shall be born of your bonds? I look forward to seeing it myself.
With the acquisition of the Colorless Mask, you can now fuse Orpheus Telos, Musician of Rebirth. Yeah, so our special new persona isn't actually anything as fancy that Igor might be alluding to there. Instead, it is just a reskin of our base persona. Not that I can even see that, because we lack the things necessary to fuse it. Orpheus Telos is pretty interesting, though. As you can see, he has 7 open slots to gain skills with in Reload, meaning that he is quite customizable right from the jump, if you can create all of these personae with the particular skills you might have in mind for this guy. So yeah, it's also notable that he is not immune to anything, but he is resistant to everything, and that's pretty important for a very specific fight. Again, we're going to be seeing later, not in the scope of this specific playthrough, but something I'll be preparing on my own time in order to show off, because, well, I gotta cover everything in these games, don't I?
Very well.
With that addressed, and it's gonna be a while before we'll see Orpheus Telos in action, but we will see him in action, let's get to the thing that we're actually here for tonight. Our first person is located on floor 232, so pretty quickly into the first section of Adama. Not too difficult to find this person. Of course, I actually have to pay attention to where they are on the map. Note that we are, well, just well beyond the enemies at this point. Even at the absolute highest floors, enemies were still getting scared of me at this point in Reload. The level curve definitely favors you much more in this game. You get to much higher highs than you do in a normal playthrough of FES and Portable. At least, if you avoid a certain special place, shall we say. Anyways, one of the people who has went missing, we're just going to take them back to the entrance, because the next thing that we're looking for is actually already after a checkpoint anyway, so we may as well just warp back and go to that next checkpoint. Our next person to find, or should I say feline friend, well, is located on floor 238, so not too much farther past the 236 checkpoint. Pretty easy, nice and conveniently located. A couple of the other people are going to take a bit more effort to find, but this kitty did not take too much. Now, if I can actually locate them relatively quickly, and of course, I went the wrong way. Well, while I'm passing through here, may as well grab some gems anyway. Not that I'm really going to invest in anything else. One thing I would like to note is that I've equipped the light immunity accessory and the elect immunity accessory to Koromar and Igus, and I hooked Akihiko up with his strike amp bracers. That'll come in handy later. Akihiko also very conveniently has some equipment that gives him Ice Evade, which, since I can't patch out his weakness, that will help us out immensely there. Anyways, taking the kitty cat back to the ground floor, get a cool 8 Twilight Fragments. Not really something I need, but it is there. Yeah, I'm relieved I was able to save the kitty as well. Anyways, next person that we need to find is also after a checkpoint, so I can just warp right up to the next section and get to them right quick. Finally, the next person we need to find is on floor 250. Already got him right here. Let's warp this person out of here and get prepared for the main attraction of the evening. Welcome back. So it looks like you're able to rescue a missing person. We'll have them stay here for now, we'll see them off when the time properly comes. I tried another search, but I'm still not picking up anyone else's presence inside. It seems we've rescued everybody who accidentally ended up in Tartarus. Alright, so now with that taken care of, let us save our game, and it is time to go back into Tartarus and play the waiting game. But since we have some downtime, I may as well go over a few things in FES. Well, for right now, let's go to the antique store to pick up something that I prepared specially. Welcome. The weapon you requested is complete. Thanks for waiting. I had one last weapon I wanted to pick up from the antique store, a foundation spear. But not just any foundation spear. This foundation spear was created with an Eon persona, specifically Adavaka, who I just created him through a triangle spread of Nidhogger, Uriel, and Ananta, and Uriel himself in this version I obtained by just fusing Nidhogger into Ananta. And the reason I wanted that is because, if we can maneuver over to our equipment and find the spear sections, I did sell some crap, so yep, it's right here. The foundation spear gives +5 to all stats. You need a level 80 Eon persona to get that. Adavaka is nice because he's level 80 by default, regardless of your progress in the social link, though I did gain a few levels out of the social link, naturally. Now, if I gain 2 more level ups with the protagonist, I could fuse Shiva and get Pinaka for Ken, which is his ultimate weapon that gives +10 to all stats, but I feel like I'd be getting close to a little too over-leveled in that case, so I just wanted to pass up that opportunity. You may also notice the persona in the background there, Sibylle. I fused her through a triangle spread of Titania, Sakimitama, and Raphael, and you'll notice that she has Auto Mataru Kaja, but not Auto Masuku Kaja. Ideally, she'd have both, but due to the way inheritance works in FES and Vanilla, and really portable, but skill cards kind of mitigate this pain, it was really difficult to get all 3 of those skills onto her. Thankfully, she starts with Auto Maraku by default, but that's the reason why I'm keeping around Raphael in the back pocket. The only reason I want Sibylle right now is because she lacks a weakness, and I'm not super hard-pressed about having Auto Masuku Kaja. Maraku and Mataru are way more important. Raphael also happens to have the just basic Mataru Kaja, usable as a spell, in his skill list, so he's worth keeping around for that. Again, I could theoretically get all the skills that I want to on Sibylle, but because she has such a weighted preference towards healing spells, and all of her components have at least one healing spell that she doesn't naturally have in their skill list that she can potentially inherit, it's just really, really difficult to get that onto her. Next up, let's head into Tartarus and go over a couple other things. Obviously, I want to do some equipment modifications for my main squad here. Naturally, we will be getting Ken his foundation spear. He's also just so graciously upgraded his own sandals, since I've kind of left him outdated there. So let's get him his foundation spear. And do I happen to have just better sandals on their own merits? Let me see here. You know what? I'm going to give him these Itaten sandals with reduced stumble on them. And let's see, he's got the Berserker seal right now. Let's see, where is... if I could find something that, yes, the Sacrificial Idol. I'm gonna give that to Ken for the upcoming thing that we're about to do, and naturally add him in at the second slot of the party. He's probably not gonna keep that specific accessory forever, but that is what I want him to have for now. Akihiko, I want to actually take away his Evil Gloves and give him Root Knuckles to patch out his ice weakness, and also, we don't really need the Tome of the Void on him right now, so what I'm going to give him instead is just, some, where are they? Some basic, Elect Bracers. Do I not have Elect Bracers? Oh, no, they're right there, Thunder Bracers. I was looking for Elect Bracers, but that's not what, Akihiko uses. To augment the damage of his Elect spells, though that's probably not gonna matter too much for what we're about to do. And finally, of course, Junpei, I want to make sure he doesn't have his Wind weakness. to deal with, so we're going to give him back his basic katana that allows him to resist wind. Doesn't need the Eye of Wind if he's rocking that, so let's see here. What would be good for him, honestly? Not Berserker Seal. Could go with, I guess Omega Drive can't hurt. Give him a little bit more crit rate. I'm not sure how much of an effect that has in Persona 3 FES, since most skills don't have positive crit rate modifiers, including his Vorpal Blade skill. With that taken care of course, I've got Sibylle to set up auto buffs and not have a weakness, and then we can transition into Norn, who now absorbs Elect, so she also lacks a weakness, and there's a reason I'm very particular about that combination of traits. With that established, let's next go into the Velvet Room, and of course get access to Orpheus Telos in FES, technically anyway. Well, it seems that you've discovered each of the social links and formed strong bonds with them all. Once again, Igor kind of subtly implies that we were demonstrating sociopathic behavior there, and a cipher like us should have the cipher's mask. And I did actually neglect to mention something when we unlocked Orpheus Telos in Reload. It is, Orpheus Telos is actually an addition to FES. He did not exist in the vanilla release of Persona 3, and in fact, there was no specific reward for maxing out all the social links, beyond obviously getting all of the ultimate personae that the social links themselves provided. So you weren't really benefiting in terms of getting, like, one final ultimate persona from getting all of the social links maxed out, so you could just focus on the ones that were most useful to you, or the ones you just enjoyed the most, and completing them all was just, gravy. But another thing that is worth talking about with Orpheus Telos mechanically is that in Persona 3 FES and Persona 3 Portable, he does not need to be fused with the special fusion of 6 personae in order to create him. You can instead just do a triangle spread fusion to create him, and he takes the top slot of the Fool Arcana past Loki. So it is actually remarkably simple to create him, but in Persona 3 FES especially, you're not going to get too many skills on him by fusing him that way. The most skills he can come in with is 5 via triangle fusion, so it's pretty difficult to customize him that way, especially because you don't have cards in FES, but it's a more viable way of doing it in Persona 3 Portable, since everything you could want for him, almost anything anyway, you can card onto him. With that taken care of, I'm going to save my game, and now let's get into the actual thing we were waiting for.
Be careful! I sense death!
Why, do I hear some chains that jingle, jangle, jingle? Yes, it's time to take on the Reaper. And we're going to start with what is probably the hardest version of the fight, the FES version. Because this guy is always going to get a first turn, regardless of if you get a hit on him or he gets a hit on you. Fortunately, he decided to waste his first action on something stupid, and wow, I did not expect to actually get the first action for this guy. Okay, so my, preferred lockdown strategy for this guy, or rather the easy cheese strategy for this guy in Portable, isn't going to happen, but that's okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to have Ken and Akihiko go on heal and support. Junpei is just fine on full assault. We've got our auto buffs up. Our ideal plan here is for Akihiko to continually debuff the Reaper to keep his damage lower and lower. One thing we have working in our favor here is that the Reaper only gets 1 action per round of combat. He does not get 2 turns in this game, so if you have the ability to outlast his damage, he is quite easy, actually. The Reaper does have a number of tricks up his sleeve. He has single target variants of every single element in the game, able to tag everybody's weakness. He has the insta-death spells. He has multi-targeting physicals, which can be pretty problematic in Persona 3 Portable, so definitely be mindful of that, because crits will spell disaster. But he himself does not have any resistances. I'm just gonna scan him anyway for the heck of it, because why not? Anyways, Norn has super powerful Phanta Rays at this point, and no weakness, so she is a reliable persona to idle on, while still dealing relatively decent damage. This guy has like 5,000 HP, I believe. Mudon and Hamon are going to be a bit problematic for most of our characters here, but not anything we can't really handle. Of course, we've got Samura Karm from Ken here to bring back anybody who gets tagged with one of those, and I have more than enough homunculi in reserve in order to deal with this guy just fine. If we're lucky, occasionally Junpei will get a critical hit here. We've also got some passive healing from Regenerate 3 on Norn, so that helps us out a little bit. Let's see. Yeah, okay, Akihiko just takes up his previous slot in turn order. He just lost his action altogether. The hope here is that he mostly sticks to single target spells that we can just completely stuff, or he goes for insta-kills on the protagonist, who, because we have all those homunculi, we are more than capable of just completely stifling those throughout the entire fight. Again, this guy has around 5,000 HP to work with, so we're going to be chipping away and hacking away at him for quite a while, but we should be able to manage it, no problem. When my Mataru Kaja expires, I'm probably not going to re-up it, because there's a little bit too much of a risk involved in switching over to Raphael. Should he decide to use a Hamon on the protagonist, but not necessarily the end of the world if he does that, because again, a homunculi will still battle us out, but he will have access to, whoa! Oh, right. Akihiko's defense was completely stifled there because he got taken out. Note that if you set up a magic mirror on this fight, he will just take you out, no questions asked, so be very, very mindful of that. Let's see here. Once again, we're going to need to get Akihiko back into the fight. Unfortunately, our buffs are starting to expire here, so defense has reverted. Let me see here. We're gonna need to figure out a way to survive what this guy does. Provided, actually, you know what? What I'm gonna do here is I'm just going to preemptively put Junpei on heal and support, and we're just going to have to accept that our buffs are going to get a little bit staggered here. Now that I know the damage we're facing down if he decides to use Megidola, I do need to keep my... Oh man, actually, do I have something that can give me Rakukaja instead of Junpei? Let's see here. That might be a critical weakness in my setup here. I do have Tarukaja, but I don't think I have Rakukaja. Ah, yes, Cert does. That does mean we're going to have to suffer an ice weakness, but I'm willing to take that risk just to make sure we stay in this fight. Ideally, this guy does something that won't kill anybody, or lets us just stay in the battle. Let's see, he's going for Fire Break here. That actually works out perfectly. I was just going on to Cert there, of course, for the defense boost on the protagonist. Hopefully, Akihiko can get back in and hopefully debuff this guy's attack. Let's see here. What is Junpei going to get here? Okay, he's going for Rakukaja. That's actually perfect. That's what I wanted him to do, because that'll get Akihiko at a point where he can now survive, provided he doesn't get taken out again. So the protagonist is going to be a little bit staggered on his buffs, but as long as Akihiko can get Matarunda onto this guy, that actually won't matter all that much. I'm not super pressed about that. We'll be able to manage in spite of that. So let's keep going with the Phanta Rays here. Of course, Matarukaja has expired on us, so it's not going to be completely perfect damage anymore. Here comes the Megidola, but now that everybody has their defense buffs up, we're able to survive that. Ah, crap, that sucks. Akihiko is in the wrong turn order now. That's still manageable, but it is pretty frustrating, because now he's going after Ken. And Ken, if he got to go before Akihiko, he would, of course, do the Medir Rahan and help us just get fully topped off. That is pretty frustrating that is a turn order we have to deal with now. But it's okay, it's okay. Let's go for the Phanta Ray here. And get some damage tacked onto this guy. Provided we don't miss, of course, which is a real possibility. Defense is reverted, and again, anytime he uses a break spell, I'm totally fine with that. That is of no issue to me. Let's see here. We're just going to have Ken do a rush here. Man, I was trying to have Ken do a rush there. That's okay, that's okay. Let's have Junpei just go for another Brave Blade here. If we're lucky, he'll get a critical hit. If we're unlucky, he won't get a critical hit. Seems pretty straightforward to me. We will probably need to periodically restore our SP throughout this fight. Once again, we're going to switch over to Cert and throw up the Rakukaja on the protagonist. Necessary evil. And with it expiring there, that lets me know to also get Junpei back onto heal and support. So that's a pretty helpful thing to us there. Again, there's a very real chance that the Reaper will wing Bufudyne at us, which is annoying, but not necessarily an instant failure scenario. And there goes Junpei, but Ken will bring him back in. Masakunda, not my preferred. Ooh, actually, it is a bit unfortunate that Junpei just went down there, because that means his turn is going to be skipped, and everybody is going to be a little bit lighter on defense. Let's see here. Actually, yeah, I'm just going to have to get everybody defensively buffed up here. Can't really take that risk. Oh, theirs wasn't expired yet. Ah, now it's even more staggered. It's hard to keep track of all these different things going on in this fight. And yeah, it's very difficult. There we go, Matarunda. Now I don't need to be so thorough about that, because we can just, we can do that when we're on the cusp of his, debuff expiring. This also means we're less likely to just get, obliterated by, stray, hits of that. There we go. Ken going for a pierce attack there. Pretty weak, but still, manageable. Alright. Now we should be stabilized. Now that we're always gonna have some form of damage mitigation in play, that is good. That is good. And of course, Akihiko is free to do whatever he likes. If he wants to go for attacks on this guy, he is fully within his right to. And it looks like we're just going to have a good turn of combat on this guy. Akihiko should also deal some good damage because he's got his fully boosted Zeodynes there. Close enough to good damage anyway. Here comes Ma Rakukaja from Junpei because I forgot to take him off of his support strategy. Unfortunately, Ken just fell on his butt there, and there's not really much we can do about that. Once again, I'm not super concerned about keeping the defense buff in play, since we've got damage mitigation from the Matarunda in play, so we can play a little bit more, I'm not sure if careless is the word here, but we don't need to be super focused on getting a defense boost back into play. It's pretty rough for Ken there, but also somewhat fortuitous, as that gets him back on his feet, so now he is able to help out with healing. Otherwise, he would have lost his turn there. There we go. Get a little bit of damage from Junpei in there, and maybe a Rahan from Ken. Fabulous, fabulous. The way our turn orders are all just screwed up now is pretty rough to deal with. We can manage, but it would be nice if this guy did a few more, shall we say, dud actions. Go. Hit rate and evasion is averted. His attack power is going to go back to normal next turn, so we'll probably want to get some defense boost on the protagonist so he doesn't get taken out. We'll also be able to conveniently get it onto Junpei there. There's a Brave Blade on this guy. And that's a weird decision for Ken to make there. Well, regardless, that's the decision he decided to make, and who am I to contest him? Once I get this defense buff in play, I'm probably going to use a Soma next turn to make sure that we have enough SP to last for this fight. It's going a little bit messy here, but I am fighting this guy at relatively lower levels than you should probably face him. Here comes the Myriad Arrows. Oof, pretty rough there. Fortunately, did not take us out. And that's why I want to get the defense buff up, because if something like that happened, of course, Akihiko is going to go into healing the party, instead of actually, you know, doing what we want from him for sports skills. Ken, why are you doing that? Oh, whatever. I was going to use a Soma this turn anyway. Not sure why Ken is being conservative with his SP now, when we're in such a dire situation, but the AI of this game works in very, very mysterious, somewhat inscrutable ways, truth be told. Alright, there we go. Here comes a Bufudyne, which is going to... you're right, that's on the protagonist. A little bit rough, but manageable. That's going on to Ken. And this guy's finally deciding to make a good turn here. Uh-oh. Well... Alright, just about made it back to where we were at the previous attempt. This is actually my third try at this fight, and believe me, it's not very fun to have to wait 10 minutes for this guy to show up every time. Well, it's more like 7-8 minutes. But I've made a couple of changes here. First off, I've equipped a Vitality Ring to the protagonist to give him a good boost in HP, so that even if I can't perfectly get my buffs and debuffs applied, he should never get to an HP point where I really have to worry that much about him getting wiped out here, and we should still have our defense buffs up, so we're doing pretty good here. Let me see. We've also got a pretty good turn order here, with Ken going right after the Reaper, so he can just heal us up in response to any damage that the Reaper hits us with. Let me see. we should be good to not do anything. As long as Ken heals us up after this next turn, we should be fine. I'm wondering if, you know what, better safe than sorry. I'm going to use a precious egg on Ken, and since I'm not attacking this turn anyway, the persona that I made that has Ma Rakukaja and also has no weaknesses is Haridi, and she also has, with Masakato's Katana, about 67 endurance, so that is pretty helpful for us. So I'm going to give Ken this precious egg here, just to make absolutely sure he is consistent with his healing. Wasn't super necessary, and the ice break does not concern me because Haridi is naturally resistant to ice, so I don't have to worry about suffering any boosted damage from that, aside from, you know, the fact that the ice immunity itself is gone, but it's completely standard damage that I'm facing down there. And I just want to be very careful that turn because Akihiko, he was or rather, the Matarunda was expiring, so I want to make sure Akihiko was actually upping it for us. And now that that's done, let me see here. I can scope out, okay, yes, we can have Junpei get Ma Rakukaja up on us, and we should be in a pretty good position for this fight going forward. Getting a good turn order here is so important in FES for dealing with this guy. This is actually something that makes, that's a little scary, but I probably want to put a precious egg onto the protagonist next turn anyway. Note that Norn is not naturally resistant to Elect, so now that her Elect Drain or her Elect Drain passive has been nullified, she will go right back to being weak to that. So we want to be very, very careful and not actually use her until that has worn off. What I think I'll do here is, actually for the next few turns, I'm just going to stick to Haridi, and I'm going to just go for normal strikes on this guy. If we get lucky and get crits, that is so much the better. Not absolutely banking on that. Man, like, even without you know, two-handed weapon mastery, with the just raw power of the Masakato's Katana, we still deal some pretty solid damage there, so that's pretty good for Haridi, especially since I haven't really done any particular stat boosting for her. But yeah, it is so important to play this fight patiently, not overcommit to anything, and just do your best to avoid facing down any super powerful damage. And of course, if you get a really good turn order, that is, again, so much the better. Hey, nice, a high counter. Very helpful for us when that comes through. That's a little bit unfortunate from Ken. I may actually use a Soma in response to that, because I think some of our defense buffs are going to start wearing off. Oh, whoops, I forgot to actually give, what is it? I forgot to give, Junpei the full assault order there, which I'm going to do right now. I actually am going to use a Soma. I want to make sure everybody is at full HP here, because we're about to hit a point where his attack debuff is about to expire, and we don't want to be facing down full damage from this guy. We will absolutely die, and I want to make sure everybody is at full HP when he gets that chance to even do that. And fortunately, that ended up not being necessary, but, you know, it's still better to err on the side of caution. You don't want to just face down those nasty attacks, and just whittle them down bit by bit. Now, something I've been trying to say, but the fight's just been so chaotic that I keep losing my train of thought, is that if you get a turn order where you have somebody after you in the turn order, and you can just go to Odin and use Thunder Rain on the Reaper, you can just endlessly shock the Reaper, have somebody knock him down, and then not follow up on the all-out attack, just have them do the knockdown, and then you can continue to attack him after he gets back up. If your entire team is after him, you can just continue to wail at him with strikes, and then make sure the last person doesn't actually hit him to get him up, and don't press the all-out attack, of course. And you can infinitely stun lock the Reaper that way in this version of the game. However, it is completely dependent on luck to get a turn order that facilitates that. I don't have a turn order that facilitates that, so we just have to do this the more conservative way. Now, this strategy is slightly nerfed in Portable, but I'm going to show off in a bit how it can actually potentially be a bit more reliable here. Mamudone's a bit unfortunate, but not a big deal, because it is a multi-targeting attack. Ken has his Enduring Bracer, or his Spirit Bracers there, so he has Enduring Soul, so he's able to stuff one of those, and the Reaper just doesn't get anything out of it at all. Alright, and Akihiko should do a Zeo dying here. If he uses another Mamudon, that might be slightly annoying, but not necessarily the end of the world, depending on when it happens. As long as it's not when Matarunda would normally be expiring, I'm actually not too pressed about him doing that again. It would be annoying if he hit multiple party members, though, because, remember, in this version, homunculi only work on the protagonist, and here he goes again, so we're just going to have to face this down. Ah, that's exactly what I was talking about. That's okay, that's okay. The most important person to get back up in this case is actually Akihiko, so that we can keep the debuffs just coming through on this guy. Luckily, also with my boosted HP, I am actually able to face down some of the nastier things this guy can do. One thing we do have to worry about is that Akihiko could potentially be fired down with, oh man, he's just going for all the insta-kills now. Ah man, Akihiko immediately taken down. Very unfortunate there. We need to get him back in. This is where, again, like, just sometimes you're gonna have really unfortunate situations like this pop up. Let's see here. Yeah, I'm gonna actually keep Junpei on heal and support, so hopefully he does something relatively intelligent. I really need Akihiko to get back into... Oh, nope, that's a problem. Another Mahamon. Why does he keep doing that? Come on. Oh my goodness! That's a disaster. Let me see here. Defense has reverted. Okay, now we're in an interesting situation here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to switch over to Haridi. And we need to get Akihiko back in. Like, that's just the most critical thing here. Akihiko, please actually stay with us in this. Okay, Megidola, this is going to be rough. And unfortunately... let me see here. Yeah, I've now just got to keep healing myself up until hopefully he does something stupid. Okay, that works. That isn't specifically something that I needed, but that actually works for me. What I'm gonna do here now is, once again, try to get Akihiko back in. And, since, Ken is down, I'm also gonna try and get him back in. Man, he is just, like, absolutely popping off with these. For goodness sake, Akihiko, survive at least one of these. You know what? I'm actually gonna go for Ken instead. Like, if he can just get a revival off, that would be so much nicer. Oh my goodness, come on. Let me get Ken back in so I can start getting more revives per turn. Or at least something. No! Is this like an AI change here? He is so consistent with these now. Ken, please, get back up. Or Akihiko, or somebody, please. Just get back into the fight here. Ah, no! Akihiko can't survive that! Oh my goodness! What is happening here? Why is he giving me the most annoying attacks now? I know I can win this fight. Okay, that's fine. I can live with that. Now, if we could just get somebody back in here... Man, I'm running out of bombs of life. I did not expect to use up this many of these. Granted, Ken has even less... Ooh, that is especially problematic there.
That wasn't good.
Okay. That's about the worst person you could have chose to revive, Ken, but, we'll deal. Okay, this is gonna be interesting. I've never actually seen him do that before. Let's, get the, Ma Rakukaja up. I didn't know he had Mind Charge. Interesting, situation we're, looking at here. Oh, Megidola, that's just, that might just be an instant loss, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna have to go back to the drawing board here. Alright, so after that third try did not go so well, I just kept trying to get encounters with this guy until eventually I got a turn order that got at least somebody before the Reaper acted. And just so conveniently, I got this turn order where everybody is going before the Reaper after he gets his initial salvo, of course. So we can just Thunder Rain him and just beat his ass to death. I really didn't want to do it this way, but just the fact that I didn't prepare enough by getting something to patch out Ken's weakness, and the fact that he can Mind Charge in the second half of the fight, there's really not much I can do about that short of getting better stats. Now, I do have some accounting for potential errors here. Akihiko and Ken are on heal and support rather than knockdown, so that if I happen to miss the Thunder Rain, which is a very real possibility, because Akihiko is not going to get... There it is, that is exactly what I was talking about. Oh, that could be disastrous, actually, depending on what this guy decides to do. Not necessarily a run killer, though, because of the setups that I have. Here comes Junpei, winging for a crit here, wing for the fences, Junpei. Junpei, let's see what you get here. Okay, nothing. If he goes for... Okay, oof, that was scary. If he decided to do Megidola there, I don't know if Odin has enough endurance to survive it. Obviously, if you use something like Maga or Dyne, that's just an instant loss, but fortunately, the worst case scenario did not happen, so we are able to defeat this guy. Again, not really how I wanted to go about this, but with just the fact that he keeps spamming insta-kills once his health gets too low, and I don't have any more... or I don't have enough defense and HP to survive Mind Charge Megidolas, unless I can mitigate them with Ma Rakukaja and Matarunda, which, again, I'm reliant on Akihiko to do that. It's just not really feasible right now, but luckily, I have a backup strategy, so we defeated the Reaper there. I knew a miss was going to come up eventually. We had managed to go without that up to this point, but, just did not have that much luck there this time. Alright, with that taken care of, let's ask Fuka for something. Let's just return and try to forget all those disasters just happened. Conveniently, with the bloody button there, I'm gonna get a good supply of cash to buy back the cert that I had to fuse off in order to get some additional buffing support. Fortunately, not something I'm gonna have to worry about going forward. Alright, let's turn over that bloody button, get our well-earned reward, I'd say. Welcome to the Velvet Room, blah blah blah. You seem to have completed a request. Just a moment while I check. I see you've obtained a bloody button. So you've defeated the Reaper, have you? Most impressive. You are approaching the level of strength I'd hoped you'd achieve. I have waited so very long in this room where time has no meaning. You may be the one to help me answer the question that has confounded me. Please accept your reward. And for our efforts, we get a cool 5 million yen. About to spend 2 million on that, getting Cert back in the party, because I'm going to need him for the final boss fight. So let's just grab him, fish him out, and we're cool to go. But there is one more thing that I would like to comment on before we get to the portable version of the fight. A very significant change happens once you reach the top floor of Adama, and by top floor of Adama, I mean the top floor available to us right now, not the top floor of Tartarus, where the final boss awaits us. And you've completed the request to defeat the Reaper. There's going to be something of a pronounced change in the lobby. Hey, that wasn't there before. It's an enormous door. Oh, I see no reason not to enter. And within this door, we find the true final block of Tartarus, Monad. This block is completely separate from the rest of Tartarus. There are no dedicated checkpoints for it, no bosses to be found in it at this particular moment in time. It's only 10 floors, and if you make it to the bottom floor, there is a cool 1 million yen waiting for you. The enemies in here are much stronger, much higher leveled than anything you can fight in Adama, and they are EXP pinatas. If you want to quickly get to level 90 or, cap out your levels, Monad is where you have to do it. The enemies here with wand cards give, at this point, they give upwards of 20 to 30k experience points. Once you're closing in on level 99, a 10 of wands will still get you about 10 to 12k, depending on what you're fighting. Very, very potent enemies to find here. The payday floors for this place are also pretty unique, as they will have either chests with money in them, or golden chests that contain the best equipment in the game that cannot be fused. In fact, in the vanilla release of Persona 3, Monad contained the ultimate equipment of the game. The equipment you found here was better than anything else you could find in Persona 3 vanilla. Not the case in FES, where, honestly, you can probably fuse better weapons than you could find here well before you get access to Monad, but some of the stuff is still worth selling, particularly in Persona 3 Portable, though if you're trying to get money, I would just go to Adama, since it's much easier to navigate, and it has much more reliable treasure floors. We don't find a reliable payday floor until floor 3 in Monad. Every floor in Monad is huge and very sprawling to navigate, so it's not very quick to navigate through this place, and the cash payouts aren't really any better than what's available in Adama. The other thing to note about Monad is that it has no special event floors. You cannot get the boosted chance to see the Reaper, but all the floors have treasure. No excess of enemies. Imagine the double experience there. No floors that all have rare forms. Monad is just pure and simple dungeon crawling. Nothing fancy about what you find in it. Obviously, there is no dedicated Monad block in Persona 3 Reload, and instead the Monad doors and the Monad passages substitute for it, which means that the special reward or the special encounter at the end of Monad that's not quite available to us just yet is tied to the Monad passage. You may remember that door we couldn't open before. Note that in Persona 3 FES, you cannot get the special Monad encounter on your first playthrough. You must be on New Game Plus to do it. Really annoying decision, and thankfully they reversed it for Persona 3 Portable. Alright, speaking of Portable, let's get into the Reaper fight there, which thankfully, despite being a little bit more scary on paper, should be a little bit more consistent also. Before we get into the portable version of the Reaper fight, we of course have a couple of people to rescue, much like we did in Reload, so we may as well take these people back to the entrance. And while we're working on this, I would like to go over one more thing about Orpheus Telos that is pretty helpful in Persona 3 FES, but is not super relevant in Portable. If you fuse Orpheus Telos into a weapon, like any other full Persona, he has a unique effect. Specifically, he gives you the Resist Magic passive, which halves incoming magic damage of any type, including Almighty. Pretty potent, but this isn't super helpful in Portable, due to reasons we'll go over later on. And let's see, between 225 don't narrow it down for me too much there, Theodore. So yeah, I've got one more person to find, and then we can actually get to fighting the Reaper. But yeah, if you fused Orpheus Telos into a weapon, you can get a very, very big boost to your magic resistance. Not exactly something that's super helpful to us in Portable, again, for reasons that I'll go over later. Anyways, Reaper time. Well, actually, let's find the person, and then Reaper time. The last person we're looking for, once again, only two, no kitty this time, is on floor 250. So let's fish him out of here, and then we can save our progress, and once again, I can wait about 7 to 8 minutes for the Reaper to show up, and the whole time worry about whether or not I'm going to choke the fight and have to spend another 7 to 8 minutes waiting for him. Fun times, fun times. Oh, I've got chains that jingle, jangle, jingle. I'm almost starting to wonder, whoa, I had the wrong thing clicked there. That was an emulator thing. I'm starting to wonder if it would just be better to go try and get an event floor before this guy shows up. Anyways, in Portable, we have a pretty nasty thing to deal with regarding death. We have to face down 2 attacks from him at the start of the fight, so let's really hope. Okay, oof. That can get a little scary if he decides to unload multiple multi-targeting attacks against you. Now, let's see here. Okay, this works out perfectly. So this fight is easier and harder. It's harder in that, well, first we have to face down 2 attacks right away, and that can go badly. And it also, we have the retooled mechanics for downing enemies, where they can only be dizzied and lose 1 turn. On the other hand, we're guaranteed to get a turn order where the FEMC is probably going to go before most of the party, so we can shock them and still get that guaranteed dizzy. And in general, our entire team is gonna get to go before the Reaper goes, so we're able to fully accomplish what we want to, and because we can directly control our party members, that makes things so much easier. As far as my equipment goes, I have the Blazing Fire on Mitsuru to patch out her fire weakness, elect-resistant weapons on Yukari and Aegis for the same reason, and then one major change that I made, or, well, relatively minor, but still helpful change that I made, is for Yukari and the FEMC, I actually purchased some Vitality Rings to give them a 30% HP boost. Not particularly necessary for the FEMC, because she has so much more endurance than Yukari, as well as higher levels, but for Yukari, this will allow her to survive so much more easily throughout this battle. So Mitsuru here is just going to be pretty straightforward and simplistic in her usage. She is just going to be tacking on whatever damage we can manage onto the Reaper here. We're going to switch over to Odin. We had Sibylle, of course, to get our auto buffs up, and we are just going to unload on this guy with Thunder Rain. We're going to knock him down as best we can. Let's see, I just used God's Hand from Aegis. I would love to get a Foundation Gun for Aegis, or whatever the game decides to call it. The Eon Gun that will give Aegis additional what is it? Additional stats to work with. Particularly the +5 strength and +5 endurance will be so helpful for us in the future. I've also got my personae set up for the final boss that are actually going to work quite nicely here. In particular, I got a resist fire skill on the Kardikia with all of the debuff skills that we want. And we do want to keep getting Ma Tarunda onto this guy, so I have pretty safe things to switch into to minimize the threat that this guy can have against us, plus all those sharp student passives on my
I summon you.
personae will minimize the chance that Myriad Arrows does anything too nasty to us. And much like Persona 3 FES, the Reaper only acts once per turn after that initial barrage of attacks that is launched at us. So we don't have to worry too much about what this guy is going to do to us. Once our buffs start to expire, we're then going to have Aegis switch off into being a buff bot, periodically throwing in God's Hand to get additional damage in. And with all of our weaknesses covered, that is of no threat to us, plus all of the extra damage, or rather, what is it? Plus all of the extra damage mitigation packed into this fight, so we should win this one way faster than we did the previous encounter, which is, of course, going to be I'm going to be so thankful for that. Really did not want to have to deal with this guy more than I had to. Once again, we will go with the God's Hand here. Aegis actually has a pretty decent strength at this point backing this, because I've got the Giga Power Band on her, and once we get her an Eon weapon, it's going to be so much better for her. That's what I'm going to do before leaving Tartarus tonight in Portable, is getting our situation sorted, getting Adavaka ready to go. One slightly problematic thing we're going to have to deal with is because we have a bit of an unusual turn order, the order in which our buffs expire going to be a little tricky to deal with. I really would have preferred it if Yukari went before Aegis so that I could get my stuff going in a pretty good way, but that just did not happen, so we're just going to focus on hitting this guy down. All our stuff is starting to expire, but fortunately we still got that attack debuff on him, so we're not too threatened. And let me see here, I want to take a look at Skatak here. Yeah, I patched out her weakness, and she has a pretty good spread of resistances, so we're going to switch over to her. She's got Weapons Master, so we can just do a nice quick swing with the Velvel Maruga, get some pretty good damage there, even more so if we get critical or heavy strikes like that. I would have Aegis start throwing up buffs here, but we really need to wait until Yukari's also expires. I'm going to just have Yukari guard this turn so that she doesn't have to worry about taking any nasty damage from this guy. So let's just have her do a defense here. If we're lucky, he might even just wing something like a Mudon at Yukari, and that would be beautiful, because she'll auto-dodge that. Hamon at the Femsi, but that's okay. We were able to dodge that, no problem. Again, Mitsuru just doing her thing with basic attacks here. And the nice thing about the way the turn order is falling right now is that his attack debuff is going to expire, but that's not going to really affect us at all because we're going to knock him down and have him dizzy and just have the opportunity to get that right back up with no issue, or not. Okay, change of plan there. Okay, let's go for Ma Rakukaja. That does lead to some slight problems here because of the fact that the Femsi does have a wind weakness to consider, but that isn't the end of the world. This is just kind of annoying. Again, she's got so much more defense than Yukari, and all that HP. I'm not too concerned about that. Plus, in Persona 3 Portable, we have the diving save from our party members, so we really don't have to worry about any single target attacks being sent her way. Get the Thunder Rain going here. There we go. Now we can have Aegis once again do another God's Hand here. God's Hand is just the more efficient option for what we're trying to accomplish right now. No all-out attack, and to make sure we're getting through this as fast as possible, we'll of course want to go Ma Tarukaja, get Ma Sukukaja up also, so we don't have to worry about those periodic misses from Thunder's Rain, which can be much more damaging to us in Persona 3 Portable. Obviously, taking the single target attack with Yukari there to make sure we get the dizzy on this guy and that he loses his turn. We're locking him down pretty good, and we're going to have him in an even worse situation by switching over to Kardikia here, getting his attack power debuffed, and once again, we're going to be in such a good situation. Let's get this Matarunda up. I'm actually going to have Aegis up the Ma Sukukaja on us, since we do have his turn where he's gonna attack coming up, and we definitely want to not miss the Thunder Rains on him. Keep this going quite well. Actually, you know what? I think I'm gonna just have Yukari do a attack there.
Couldn't defeat it.
Get a little bit more damage tacked on this guy. Let's see, Ice Break, okay, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, every time he does something stupid like that, like a break skill, I'm not concerned about that. As long as he's not creating any weaknesses, he could potentially hit Mitsuru with Fire Break, which of course would expose her weakness once again, but we're not super concerned about that. I'm not overly pressed about the potential of that happening. Get this Thunder Rain tacked onto him, very good. Beautiful damage to see coming through. We're going to have our defense buff start to expire, but that's just fine, because we're going to be re-upping them on a turn where he's inactive anyway.
While the iron's hot.
And no, we're just going to go for God's Hand here. The reason I'm not having Yukari go for Garudine is that in this situation, it's really not that much more powerful than her just doing the normal attack here. Particularly if we get a crit and she just gets a 50% damage bonus. May as well just do it that way, right? Get the Bufudine going on this guy. I'm gonna switch over to Skatak to just go for a simple weapon strike from the Femc here, and have relatively good defenses against every potential attack this guy can throw at us. Let's just hope for a crit. No crit, but still close to 200 damage, so pretty good. Let's see, so what we've got coming up here. Okay, everybody's defense buff has indeed expired, so let's have, I guess, do the Rakukaja here. I almost lost track of what the status of everybody's buffs and debuffs were, so I can be a little pressing when I make a mistake like that. Let's see, attack is reverting, so we'll have that to take care of on the next turn. Get the Diarahan going on Aegis, as she always appreciates having that at her disposal. Full HP, that is. And what are we going for here? Oh man, I'm getting a really good pattern with this guy. He's just going for a useless break spell. I mean, they can potentially be devastating. Like I said, that does re-expose Mitsuru to fire damage, but as long as we're getting this thing where we're just staggering out all his attacking turns, it really doesn't affect us that badly. We can just keep doing this and keep locking him down until the cows come home. Get another Thunder Rain tacked onto this guy. Beautiful, beautiful. Let's see, yeah, his attack debuff should be expiring this turn, so we can use our next turn with Kartakia to get that back up. I do definitely want to err on the side of caution here. If he starts winging out those multi-targeting
Understood.
instant death spells, like he did in the last, or the FES fight, I don't have enough homunculi to stuff all of those attacks. I mean, I suppose I could go do the luck door to get enough, and that probably would cover us for this entire battle, but better to just err on the side of caution, keep him locked down like so. Alright, this attack has reverted. I'm almost wondering if it might be worth it to just go all in on taking him out right now. His HP is quite low. Do it! Dare I risk it? Dare I risk it? You know what? Life is no fun if you just play completely saucelessly and without any risks, so let's go for it. Let's have some fun here. Hey, that's exactly what I like to see. This will deal some beautiful damage. 307, he's out of here. Alright, way better than the FES encounter. I didn't have nearly as much trouble with that version of the fight. The FES version of the fight, though, that was no good. That was no good. Alright, good amount of level ups for the remainder of the ladies. Definitely like seeing that one on Yukari, and I guess it's also appreciated. Now with that taken care of, we've got the bloody button, so what I'm gonna do is, let's see here, what's my money situation? Well, I'm probably going to end up getting a little bit more money than I need at this point, but what we want to do is get Adavaka, so let's just see Theodore's reaction to us defeating the Reaper. Head in over here, and turn over our bloody button. It seems you've completed a request. One moment, please, while I check. I see you've obtained a bloody button. You managed to defeat the Reaper. That's quite a feat. You're approaching a level of strength that I'd only hope you could reach. I have waited so very long in this room, for time has no meaning. You may be the one who can help me answer the question that has been confounding me. I'll give you the reward. If I give you the reward now, you'll have more money than you can carry. You'll lose whatever you can't hold on to. Would you still like me to give you the reward now? This is pretty nice, is that if you would hit the money cap, you can actually turn down the reward and collect it later. Please speak to me again when you are ready. And, yeah, I do want to get Adavaka, which will probably burn through my money, so I'll just take care of that real quick. You know, just for once, when I'm trying to get a specific thing, I was just trying to get a Judgment Persona to give me more flexibility with AI. Come on, Loki! That is so useless to me. Ugh. Let me pull out all of it. Good thing we're getting that 5 million yen. Goodness gracious. So dumb.
It's reading. It's the Reaper.
And I think that's our cue to get ready for this fight in Persona 3 Reload. I don't exactly have a perfect setup for this fight, but we do have one big advantage over other versions of the game here. If we take a look at Koromaru again, reminder that he has access to Debilitate, and he has no weakness now, so we have just a steady, reliable debuff bot to keep this guy much weaker than he would be otherwise, and I'll be going in with my auto buffs. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to patch out Akihiko's weakness, nor the protagonist's weakness, but that shouldn't matter to us too much, and all doors are open now. The Reaper is approaching.
Guard up too.
And it's time for us to get ready for a rough encounter. We are going to be quite literally fighting for our lives. You know, not that we haven't been doing that the entire game, but you know, against the Reaper, the threat is so much more real. Anyways, I see no reason to put it off, so let's get into it. As you can see, we can actually get the advantage on this clown in this version of the game, which is kind of funny that they let us get away with that, and actually gives me a pretty good opportunity to switch off of my current persona and just enjoy the auto buffs that we have with no real drawback, honestly. Now this guy is obviously pretty durable, so we're going to be prepared for the long haul of a battle here. And unfortunate miss from Aegis there. Kind of impressive that she can even miss like that. Also, the word of the day is strike, as we are absolutely set to uncork so many strike kills on this guy. Here comes a Bufudine, likely winged at Akihiko, but with his extra ice evasion and all our buffs and debuffs in play, he's gonna try and counter that with Heat Riser, which, yes, he does get 2 turns now in this version of the game, making him a slightly more serious threat than he was in previous versions. Kind of annoying that he gets to go after Koromaru there. There goes Koromaru's buffs, but I'm not too concerned about that. Let's see here. What I will do is play a little bit cautiously here. Let's see. I'm going to get the defense buff on everybody extended here. Make sure Koromaru doesn't get taken out. And we gotta make sure that we're staying on top of our healing here. I only have the protagonist to use healing spells, so otherwise I got to use healing items. But we have so many items at this stage of the game, that is not that big a deal for this particular fight. And when we're actually in the final boss fight, the turn order is going to be a bunch more rigid and manageable compared to this, so I don't really have to worry too much about, what is it? The timing of when I can get those, arts. Sorry, I've been playing a lot of Tales of recently. Timing of when I can get those skills out. We've got our homunculi there to soak up any of those unfortunate, insta-kill spells that come out towards us. And again, just keep spamming God Hand here. I can have... Ooh, there we go. I was gonna say I can have Aegis just keep spamming stuff, but you know what? Why don't we pop on over to Akihiko and uncork a full-power electric onslaught on this guy. Okay, I don't have Concentrate up, but it's a bit trickier to get that onto Akihiko. We would need Yukari to get reliable access to that, and honestly, this on its own, fine enough, fine enough. A pretty significant amount of his HP taken out there. I'm going to extend the Matarukaja buff on the party. And what we're going to do here is also extend Masukukaja, while also getting it back onto Koromaru there. I just want to make sure that all my buffs are in play consistently. Now that that's done, we don't really need to have Koromaru do anything else there, so let me see. I'm going to have him actually throw a healing item at the party to make sure that everybody is in pretty good standing here. Let me see here. Do we have any of those, like, premium first aid kits from... or the Aokige specials? I can't tell. The item inventory gets quite messy by the end of the game. Probably should buy a few more of those, because they are pretty handy. Alright, we'll just go with, oh yeah, I do have some Aokige specials. My eyes just glaze over those so badly. Again, your inventory gets so cluttered by the end of the game, you don't really have icons that you can quickly peruse them. Anyways, with the lightning immunity there, we don't have to worry about Aegis getting taken out. Ooh, the evil smile might be a bit unfortunate. Fortunately, the protagonist is immune to it. Now, I do want to make sure that we do not get screwed over by fear, so I am going to just have to make sure that that is taken care of on the rest of my team. That will unfortunately result in a waste of the protagonist's turn, but that is not really a big deal at the end of the day. I'm going for a Kasha Arts on Aegis because it is her highest crit rate skill, even if it's not her strongest thing by default. It would be really nice if we could get a critical God's Hand here, then pass it on to Aegis and have her use her Theurgy. Let me see here. We will just have Koromaru do Getsue here. Ooh, maybe I should have extended the debilitate there. I think it was about to expire. Okay, no, it wasn't. I did not lose track of that. Okay, that was bound to get through eventually. Squeak through, even. Vile Assault coming to Akihiko. Will he survive this turn? Surprisingly, the Reaper decided to just let him go. Well, his loss and my gain, really. Luckily, we have spared bead chains in reserve to help out Akihiko there. Once again, we will go for an Akasha Arts here, just for the higher chance of getting a critical hit. I'm going to have Akihiko use the bead chain here, because we do need that much healing in order to get him back into a safe position, and I want to make sure I refresh the debilitate there, so that we don't lose out on that. Alright, defense is reverting, so I know that's something I'm going to have to re-up the next turn as well. Get the debilitate onto this fool. And honestly, I'm not too pressed if he decides to use Mahamon. Well, there's going to be a bunch of my... Ooh, we might actually be out of... we're out of homunculi, I think. Which, again, just kind of an unfortunate thing I can't really do anything about. While we still have the debuffs in effect, as well as, what is it? Our own buffs in effect. We may as well pass this over to Aegis and do the maximum firepower here. Here we go. Unfortunately, we don't have the additional pierce damage because I need her weakness patched out to make sure this fight is relatively consistent. Let's see here. Now we are going to re-up our defense. Once again, I'm going to have to, well, actually... Okay, if Akihiko got his Theurgy there, I might have just gone for it just to see if I could close the fight out now. But instead, we're going to be a little boring and just play it a bit more defensive here. Note that I do have, what is it? Oh, man, I hate it when I just have this absolute brain fart. I do have the Enduring Soul accessory on the protagonist, so he is perfectly safe in that regard. Let's see here. What do I want Koromaru to do? You know what? Just to make sure, I'm not really sure how he reacts to this. What if I put a magic mirror on Akihiko? Obviously, in the other versions, if the magic mirror is in play, he's going to start spamming Mega Down because he really doesn't like it when you do that. But since it's not multi-targeting in this version, I'm wondering if he'll let me get away with that. And it looks like he is. Alright. Hurt himself pretty badly here. Panic is a much bigger deal in this version due to the effects that it has on us. And this is the nice thing about using Ashura here, is that he has the Unshaken Will passive, so I can just completely no-sell any mental ailments coming out from this guy with absolutely no concern. Alright, let's get our attack power back up. And I think what I'll do here is I'm just going to have Akihiko go for the Electric Onslaught. Not even bother with a... actually, you know what? Let's be a bit smarter here. I was going to go for the Electric Onslaught, but it might be better to just go for a more consistent turn. Or a turn where I can guarantee finish this guy off to start popping off with that stuff. Especially because the protagonist has his Theurgy coming up. I can unlock or uncork a Scarlet Havoc on this guy. Alright, that's the perfect person for him to target with that. Ah, man, no Scarlet Havoc. But we got a critical hit anyway. You know what? Give myself the honors, why don't I? So, let's just switch our persona over here to Siegfried and go for the Scarlet Havoc. Remember that Siegfried still has all my slash boosting passives, so a Scarlet Havoc from him is going to be much more significant than one from Ashura. And there we go. Not the best we've ever seen from that, but the Reaper is defeated. we get a shuffle time here, so may as well take some extra experience, and... Whoa! Hello! Oh my goodness! Well, there goes any difficulty the final boss was going to have. I remember that guy gives a lot of experience. In case you weren't keeping track, we were level 81 when we went into that fight. Oh my god. I honestly, like, I remember the last time I fought that guy, I got to, like, level 87, I think, off of that, but I probably didn't get a wand card from it. So, yeah, I did not really intend to get that high level. Well, I could theoretically fuse Orpheus Telos right now, but I wouldn't exactly have the skills I want, so we're just going to ignore that. Okay. Yeah, all my preparations for the final boss are complete. We are ready to go. We are ready to go. Fuka, please get us out of here. I gotta stave off any more potential temptation to get even more powerful. Oh, the things I could fuse right now, but I want a bit of an honest clear of the end of the game. That being said, we'll pick up some remaining Twilight fragments from Elizabeth and turn in request number 100.
Oh my, you've already fulfilled the requirements.
I see you've acquired a bloody button, which means you've managed to defeat the Reaper? That's quite a feat.
Marvelous.
You are approaching the level of strength I hoped you'd achieve. I've waited so very long in this room where time has no meaning. You may be the one to help me answer the question that has confounded me. Please excuse me. That completes this request. Please take this as your reward. The Divine Pillar, and upon clearing all 100 requests, well, okay, not all 100 requests in the game, you have to complete all Elizabeth dates, you have to complete the final request for defeating the Shadow of the Void in the Monad Passage, and then you must defeat the Reaper, and finally, you will get the quest to take on the ultimate adversary. We're not going to be doing that in this file. That is going to be reserved for my alternative file efforts. We're not really going to get anywhere close to having the necessary resources with the time we have remaining there, so that's why I made a separate save towards the beginning of the month, to make sure that I had all the time I needed in-game to get prepared. So, yeah, with that done, if you're curious what that Divine Pillar is, it is an accessory, if I can find it, that replicates the Firm Stance ability. It halves all incoming damage, but disables your ability to dodge. A pretty popular accessory for the final or the bonus boss in the older versions of the game, though I'll probably look for an alternative strategy in this version of the game, since I've already got that unlocked for the FES version of the fight. One thing to note about FES's version of the bonus boss fight is that it must be done on New Game Plus. You cannot do it on a fresh new game, which is kind of an arbitrary restriction, and they removed it from Persona 3 Portable, at least partially because on Maniac mode you cannot carry over anything into New Game Plus anyway, so that would just kind of stonewall you from fighting the bonus boss on that mode. Anyway, with all that done, nothing left to do but return to Iwatodai and idle the days away.
Oh, hello.
Everyone, listen up.
Well, today is the last composition class for January. As they say, January walks and February runs. It'll be a whole new year in a flash. But before that, we've got our final exams, so don't relax just yet. Anyway, just look at me. I managed to come to school every day, so you can too. Even though if I had the choice, I'd have slept in at home. Too many scary people around town lately. We can't just ignore the last lecture from Miss Toriyumi.
Yep, exactly.
Those apathy syndrome rumors have been all over TV lately. Same with those cult members. How'd things end up like this? Well, yesterday I heard something intriguing. Someone on TV called it a disease born out of the times, where the darkness in someone's heart completely takes over. They said it's inevitable in a hopeless society like ours, that its victims are really the victims of society at large. But I think that's wrong. Everyone may have darkness in their hearts, but they fight it, right? I admit, hope isn't something you can come across so easily in our society. But that hardly gives them the license to give up. They should be able to stand on their own 2 feet. Anyway, that's my take on the matter. I hope you're paying attention, class. Something profound like that is bound to show up on the final exam. Oh, Miss Toriyumi, the way you toot your own horn sometimes. But I appreciate you regardless. Anyways, probably our last academics boost for this game. savor it.
Welcome back.
Only 3 more days, man. I'm kind of looking forward to it, but also kind of not. Hey, I know I've given you some shit before, but I'm fully behind you now, dude. So let's give Nyx hell. What do you say, leader? Oh yeah, I am more than ready. Well, honestly, after we've defeated the Reaper, is there really any hope that Nyx has of defeating us? I don't think so.
By the way,
Probably had this thought already, but after all this is over, C's won't be needed anymore. It's hard to wrap my head around it. And I guess it's too soon to get emotional over it, or to spend that energy focusing on defeating Nyx.
In that case.
Well, why don't we go to Tartarus and train? Can't be too prepared. Actually, Akihiko, looking at our statistics right now, I think we're more than prepared. I think I kind of underestimated the reward we would get for defeating the Reaper. Defeating death itself, which, I mean, I guess is a good warm-up for Nyx, if nothing else. My father couldn't stop the experiment from happening. When I close my eyes, I see his sad face, just like in that video. I'm gonna get rid of the dark hour so he can smile again. Absolutely. Ken? Just between you and me, I think black coffee is really bitter. I was told that when I grow up, I'll acquire a taste for it. Wonder if that day will really come. Of course it will, Ken.
Very much.
Thank you. Sorry, I was just a little scared. Let's do our best, Zeller-san. And Junpei over here. This month went by fast, man. It's almost time for the final showdown. Alrighty, Cullen. Come on, let's make this final stretch count. Hey, yeah, and I'm counting on you too, buddy. It's almost time. How are your preparations coming along? I guess. have you looked at ourselves recently? Good. We need to be fully prepared if we aim to win. Oh, you know what? That does remind me, we don't really need the immunities anymore, so we can just put on our accessories that give us the most damage here. So the Vijaya bracers to I guess, and I'm actually going to go with the Amriti necklace on Koromaru. It's not as necessary now that I have Unshaken Will for the protagonist, but this does give him a bit of protection from a couple of ailments that the Unshaken Will doesn't cover, and also it's just nice to have 2 characters who can potentially chuck out those status cures, depending on the situation. Speaking of, I'm probably just going to clear out some inventory, sell some stuff that I'm not using, and get a few more healing items before the end of the game. You know, at this point in the game, there's really not much left for me to do, so for the first time, we're getting the going home straight after school tutorial. Entering your dorm after school will immediately bring the day to nightfall. I only have a little bit of yen left, so not really feeling like spending any of it on agility boosts that I probably wouldn't need. Though I am still trying to funnel some more strength into Siegfried while I'm at it. Just 2 days left now. It's cold and dreary outside, and I couldn't blame you for feeling even drearier at the moment. But we need to just hang on a little while longer. Spring is just around the corner, as they say. Hey, that's Aigus's catchphrase. Mitsuru, get your own. Hey, the rooftop crops have sprouted. And it looks like we have an opportunity to walk Koromaru tonight. Why don't we get our plants here? Looks like the produce can be harvested. And let's see, we got a charged herb and a deflecting herb. We could plant more, but at this point, it's not going to grow. So let's at least take a look at that new item that we grew, the charged herb. A pretty cool item. It allows you to cast charge on anyone. Notably, the magic variant of this that allows you to concentrate on anyone, I think you have to grow that with Shinjiro, which very limited opportunity to get that, and I think you can only really do it on New Game Plus, and that's only if you're not playing on Merciless mode, or it might be Fuka. Well, regardless, it's a bit more difficult to get some of those, so we do have a few on-demand charges that we can throw at anyone, which is pretty cool in my opinion. Pretty cool. We got a little bit of dialogue to grab from Fuka, so let's do that, and why don't we do one last walkie with Koromaru. Right now, Natsuki-chan is somewhere far from here, doing her best in life. That gives me the strength to carry on and never give up. Alright, that was a little heartwarming. Anyway, who will want to go with us to walk Koromaru tonight? Koromaru is looking at me with pleading eyes. He seems to want to go for a walk. Everyone can come along for a walk with us tonight. Yes, the final chance to walk Koromaru, well, everybody gets to join us on it. It's gonna be a nice big group outing for C's.
Clothes shopping with me? Keep your voice down. Sure. Let's go together next time, Mitsuru-senpai.
We'll go right, Fuka. Gotta go around from the right.
Okay. Huh?
No, that's left. Oh, wait, that's right for you. Huh. Whatever. Why don't you just climb to the top of the jungle gym?
What? I'm not going down the slide head first. My clothes will get all dirty.
When I was your age, we used to compete over who could slide down in the funniest way.
Funniest? Like what? You don't have to take your shirt off. It's fine.
Shake. Is shake the command given to request paws on one's head? I comprehend.
The day of the final battle draws near. Everyone is having fun, as if trying to make the most of this moment. We spent a pleasant evening together.
Welcome back.
It's almost time. It's been 10 years since Death awakened. Now, finally, tomorrow is the promised day. Once we enter Tartarus tomorrow, we won't be able to leave. Are you ready? I mean, once again, just look at us here. I think we can't possibly be more ready than this. Nobody has anything to say tonight? Koromaru is, of course, hanging out there with his brush, which... you know what the hell? Let's give him one more brush. Come on, Koromaru. Koromaru seems pleased. I brushed him as thoroughly as I could. Koromaru brought this mad bull. Is he thanking me for brushing him? Thank you, Koromaru. It's the thought that counts. I played with Koromaru for a while before heading back to my dorm. While we're just enjoying time with our team, I'd just like to show the slightly different walking together scene in Persona 3 FES. I honestly, even though it doesn't have any dialogue, I really like this. Look at this. Fuka is trapped! And of course, Aigis, the protagonist, just enjoying an evening with Koromaru. Ken and Akihiko having their little heart-to-heart. Mitsuru and Yukari are just amused at what's going on here. The day of the final battle draws near. Everyone is having fun, as if trying to make the most of this moment. I spent a pleasant evening with them. Before we move on, though, I want to take one final opportunity to go around town and just reminisce a little bit. Class has ended for today. Of course, we always find ourselves right next to our most recent social link, Aigis, who's developed so much since the game has started. She was, well, just as robotic as you'd expect a robot girl to be, but she's really coming to her own as a person at this point. And I feel like we've got a bond that truly will never be broken. I'm not just saying that because I'm burned into her heart. Not a social link in this version, but definitely in Portable. We got Junpei over here. Our relationship with him hasn't always been perfect, but I think a good friendship is always going to have its ups and downs. You can't just be perfectly sycophantic with each other, and it's good that you can butt heads, hash out your differences, and still hang out at the end of the day. This might sound weird coming from me, but school isn't so bad. Looking forward to coming actually, once this is all over. Hey, you were actually looking pretty good on your exam. Over here, we've got Kaz. He is, of course, our stalwart ally in sports. We've done track with him, we've swam with him, we've done kendo on the live streams. It's just, this guy is truly, truly a natural athlete. Just a great guy, and he's able to tough it out and work through stuff, but I think we helped him to realize that a man's gotta know his limitations. He shouldn't try to push past those. I think he's gonna have a great career as an athlete ahead of him. Not in today, thankfully. Nah, I'm kidding. We've got our first social link who sits around here, Kenji. He's a bit of a goofy guy. He kind of reads too deeply into things and mostly sees the world how he wants to see it, but sometimes you do have to have those harsh tumbles to really realize what life is about, and I think he's going to be a much more sensible person going forward after having, his whole thing blow up in his face. Hey, and maybe he'll be more entertaining to hang around when he's not constantly acting like a lovesick puppy for a girl who isn't actually interested in him. Of course, we've got Yukari here. We always hit it off pretty well with Yukari, but she had an emotional barrier up for a good chunk of the game. After the whole thing at Yakushima, though, we were able to connect with her on a bit more of a personal level, and I think, much like Junpei, we've got a good lifelong friend here. Not someone we always see eye to eye with, but we can always hash out our differences. Heading over this way, of course, we've got Chihiro over here, who I always want to mix her name up with Chidori, but now, Chihiro, part of the student council, very shy, reserved, but we help her break out of that shell, and I think she's going to be a much more competent and capable person going forward. Heck, she probably is poised to lead the student council. Mitsuru is not going to be here next year, so somebody's got to do it to, just entertain any guests to the school, and of course, give a guiding hand to the students of her own year. Over this way, often we'll find Yuko hanging out in this corner, and indeed she is. Sports manager and very reliable at her job. Honestly, it's kind of surprising that she needed to work with us to guide her to her passion. But hey, sometimes the things that are just they're right in front of your face, like the things you should be doing or the things you might want to do. Sometimes you just kind of look over them, always thinking that there's something bigger around the corner. It's important to recognize that, not everything needs to be super flashy, and I think athlete development, beautiful career choice for Yuko. She's already excellent at that, and once she gets her classes completed, I think she's going to have just as lucrative a career as Kaz. Heck, she might even manage him in the future. Heading down over this way, we always had Bebe waiting for us, I believe right around here, and Bebe, man, what a friend that guy turned out to be. It was just so cool to see him so passionate about his sewing. Even though he only had us to show up for him, he was kind of, a bit of a outcast, just being the weird French guy who's a little too enthusiastic about Japanese culture, but we were able to push past that and develop a pretty good friendship with him, too, and he seems to really appreciate us. I'm looking forward to the day he comes back. If anything, we really gotta defeat Nick so Bebe can come back to the country that he loves. Heading down over this way, wait, of course, Fuka, right by the bathrooms here. Bit of an odd place to stake her claim, but hey, Fuka is a bit of an offbeat person. We, of course, just had a pretty standard relationship with her in FES, and we had our cooking club in Portable, and Fuka just gained so much more confidence in her abilities, and actually was able to make pretty tasty food by the end of it when she stopped overcomplicating things and finding a bit more of a methodology to use. Obviously, she still has her struggles with that, but she is also able to funnel herself into her true passion, technology, and hey, these headphones that she gave us, just amazing. Great friend to have, Fuka. You are wonderful, and a great addition to the team. Slightly later joiner to seize, but one who is no less valuable to us. Let's continue on. Heading down this way, let's see, let's go to, I believe these are the culture clubs over here, because of course we've got to mention Keisuke. Keisuke was a guy who was just, had such a complicated feeling about what he should be doing. Of course, we could paint with him, we could do music, we could do photography, and across all versions of the game, we have done that. And he's pretty capable at that. He's, was able to, actually do his craft at a competitive level. But ultimately, it was just so obvious that, even if he had lingering doubts about it, being a doctor, he's just such a natural towards it. I know he didn't really want to be a Xerox of his dad, but hey, why fight an obvious passion and talent that you have? And I think he's going to do well as a doctor, much like Bebe is going to do well as a, I want to say seamstress. I don't know what the male term for seamstress is, but he's good at sewing. He's going to do well like Kaz is a good athlete, and I'm glad we were able to steer him towards what he really should be doing, because it would be a waste to have a guy who's so capable at saving people's lives, as we've seen firsthand, just go into a career that maybe he wouldn't be the absolute best at, just because he didn't want to be just like his father. Of course, I glossed over the student council, but since we're passing by the faculty office, we mentioned it with Chihiro. We managed to get Hidetoshi, the guy who had just a mile-long stick up his ass, to relax a little bit and realize what's really important about what he should be doing for the school, not to be such an iron-fisted hall monitor, and actually think about what makes the school a better place, and actually trying to reform potential problem students, not just throw them to the wolves. I'm glad we were able to guide him to that realization. I think he is going to be a fine member, or rather, not a member of the student council because he's retiring from that, but I think he's going to be a fine teacher in the future. He has had his mistakes, he's learned from them, and I think he's going to guide others along the right path. We of course got Mitsuru here, the Ice Queen herself, super stoic initially, always businesslike, but we were able to see her more vulnerable side in her social link in different ways for the MC and the FEMC, so it was just interesting to see what kind of lies under those layers, and honestly, I think Mitsuru is much happier for letting her guard down, actually letting her feelings shine through with her friends. There's, of course, a couple other social links that not present in FES. We, of course, had the library committee with Saori, and such a tragic story there. I just feel so bad for Saori. So many things were going wrong in her life, but she always managed to keep a smile through it, even when she wanted to cry. I'm glad she was able to get some bit of closure before she transferred out, and I think with the lifelong friends she made in the FEMC, she's going to have a better future going forward. After getting out of Gekkan High, she has a new... She's able to turn the page in the book and start a new school year with a new leaf, and hopefully not have any nasty rumors spread about her. We of course also had Rio on the volleyball team, or tennis team, if that was what you wanted to go with, who, honestly, I thought her social link was kind of lame. I didn't really like matching her up with Kenji, but at least she became a more confident person by the end of it, and she was a bit more willing to hear others out and actually let them contribute to club activities, figure out what everybody wanted to do. Let's continue on. Gekkan High. Crazy school year, but a fruitful one for us. Something that I feel just made us grow so much as a person. But, of course, there were things that happened outside of school. Polonia Mall, we spent a lot of time here, not just using the shops, and not just playing the arcade either. We had some meaningful relationships form here, surprisingly. Of course, this was our go-to place to go to when we want to talk to Elizabeth or Theodore, and just take them out into the world and show them what lies beyond the veil of the Velvet Room. And, much like Aigis, they were a bit stiff and awkward, but I think they did genuinely get an appreciation for what it means to be alive by the end of it. All these shops here are just so useful to us. The pharmacy, the antique store, Officer Kurosawa, heck, even B Blue V in this version. We made use of their accessories to good effect. Of course, we used to visit the cafe here, the karaoke, the arcade, to develop our social statistics, help us get more friendships. Speaking of, we needed pretty high charm over here to form a relationship with, Tanaka, who was a bit of a weird guy, but I think we also managed to awaken something in him. He was doing a charitable action by the end of the social link. For such a selfish and profit-focused guy, it's honestly kind of impressive that for once he decided to do something altruistic. He did dress it up under the pretense that the youth he was going to help out would be caring for him come his retirement, but you know what? That's not necessarily the worst thing in the world. I mean, he's still helping people out, even if he has a slightly selfish motive, and that may just be posturing even. I think he's actually going to do some good, and I'm glad we were able to give him at least that kind of epiphany. Could have just been a selfish profiteering guy for the rest of his life. Granted, he's doing the weird salvation badge thing, but you can't completely breed to get the opportunism out of a guy who's been doing that for who knows how long in his adult career. Of course, we met Mutatsu in Club Escapade, managed to actually get him to take the steps to reunite with his estranged family. I'm just so thankful for that. He looked so miserable sitting in the club getting drunk all night. I think if he really cleans up his act, he's going to be able to get back with his wife, repair the relationship with his son, and that's just going to be a beautiful thing going forward. I'm thankful that we were able to help him come to that epiphany. Sometimes the uber-religious monk, he needs a little bit of help getting revelations from someone who's not, perhaps as pious. It blinds him to the things that maybe he should have noticed. Heading over to Port Island Station. Actually, not too much to say about Port Island Station, though of course we did go here on the film festival with so many of our friends and just enjoyed all the movies there. We occasionally came here just to develop our social statistics as well. Again, not really the most important place in the game, but a handful of side quests over here. We cleaned that bathroom for one thing. We helped the girl get reunited with her family here, and another one just seems to have taken her place. She drank up a lot of Sprite. A lot of it. In the flower shop, we occasionally bought some gifts here to help people out. In Persona 3 Vanilla, this is actually where Tanaka stakes his claim. You gotta come here to see him during the day as well. Just so surreal to think about when he's a nighttime social link in every other version of the link. And of course, this hot and cold couple here, this will never end. I'm really worried. We're spending so much time together. It seems like it has to end. It's just me, right? Nah, you guys are gonna be fine. I'm gonna make sure of it. Over here, the Que Sera Sera bar came here for a couple of side quests, both to get the Queen Elizabeth drink and to help out the guy at the Mahjong parlor who realized that it wasn't a good idea to spend his life just idling it away on gambling. And of course, well, this is where Shinji stumbled off to die. At least we were able to give him some happiness in Persona 3 Portable. Technically he's alive, but I don't know if he's gonna get the same miracle that Chidori got. We can only hope. We can only hope. See that magazine? Yeah, these guys are still talking about Takaya and Jin. Not exactly people I want to think about right now. I'm thinking about good memories, honestly. And these guys, they gave us one of the worst memories we've had this year, so you know what? Screw those guys. Off to Iwatodai Station we go. The actual station itself doesn't really have too much for us, and of course, in Reload and Portable, we just get shuffled off to the strip mall by default. Though we did come here frequently for Akihiko's Linked episode in Reload. Looked into those people who are waiting for the end. Like they have something to do with the victims of those mysterious incidents, which means the apathy syndrome victims and these people have something in common. Right when the belief started, this cult happened. Maybe there's something about all of this. Or maybe they're just using the situation to gain followers. This lady is such an intrepid reporter. I'm glad that she was able to actually hone in on what's really going on here. Not easy when you aren't aware of the dark hour. Let's see. Then he called on me, and I told him so. What happened? It was weird. He said, I'm in the way of you guys hanging out together, right? He said the reason he doesn't give much homework and why he got mad at me for ditching practice is because he'd rather we have good memories of middle school rather than homework. I had no idea. I never thought of it that way. Interesting. That girl actually managed to gain somewhat of an appreciation for what her teacher was trying to do. On to the area where we actually have some, relatively interesting developments and fond memories. We of course had Mamoru sit right here, and what a rotten hand Mamoru was dealt. But once again, much like Saori, honestly, he's taking it with the best attitude that he can, and at least he seems to really know what he wants to do. And I'm hoping he's still going to be able to pursue his passion while also doing a physical labor career, and hopefully his family will be able to find something to support themselves as well, independent of Mamoru. That's just the situation that I hope improves for him. I really feel like Mamoru helped us strive to improve ourselves as well. Of course, we've got Bunkichi and Mitsuko over here, the loving couple who also just got dealt a rotten hand, outliving their son, but we managed to step in and serve as something of a surrogate figure for their son, someone that they could pass on their own wisdom and kindness to, and help us move along in life, much like how their son taught the youth, really, and I feel like we had a pretty good relationship with them. It was just a wonderful, heartwarming time, and I'm glad they were able to get some closure for their son's death with the whole persimmon tree situation. It's going to be an area where children are able to learn, but the tree will stand in a new location. Beautiful stuff. Are you able to take the cat, kid? The cat has been acting weird. He keeps staring into space. I don't understand, but Mom is gonna agree with me, and my dad pretty soon. Today, when my dad comes home from work, I'm gonna beg him. I hope it works out for you, kid. Just one final destination to check out before we just end this trip down memory lanes. We've got Naganaki Shrine. We came here quite a lot to make use of its services across the different versions of the game. In Portable, we used the Inari Shrine off to the left often to dupe cards. Same for Reload. And across all three of the versions that I've been focusing on in the videos, we've used these these relationship fortunes to help us speed along our progress on social links. Not exactly the most friendly way to think about it, but, you know, ultimately that is what we did. The offertory box got heavy use in vanilla since it doesn't consume time to use it in that version of the game. We were able to quickly max out our academics there, and I was able to ace the second set of exams due to that. That was a wonderful experience right there. Of course, over here in the playground, we met Maiko, a child who was having a somewhat tempestuous home life due to the looming divorce of her parents. We were able to work her through that in some questionable ways, honestly. And while I'm not exactly a fan of Maiko's dad, it does seem like the family has come to a bit of a better understanding. Hopefully, she has a less hectic household going forward. Hope she's not holding me to that marriage promise. And of course, over here, Akanari. Someone who was just trying to find meaning in his short life. And at the end, he did actually find it. He wrote his story. A story that we're going to have to carry into the future. I think we should look into getting this thing published, honestly. I think more than anyone, in spirit, Akinari is going to be with us in the final battle. Quite literally. Hey, he might even be sharing box seats with Shinjiro. I'm definitely going to be looking forward to them cheering me on in the final battle. And, of course, the final place to return to, the place where we stake our own claim, the dormitory. Basically a new home for us. I feel like the protagonist up to this point in his life has just been kind of drifting from school to school and has never really had a place to call his home. Not exactly fancy, it's a shared living space, but we've managed to find something akin to friends and family within the dorm. C's is a tight-knit unit at this point, and it's made this dorm into a place we can truly call home. I think Junpei especially appreciates being away from his alcoholic dad, so just good stuff all around. Of course, there are a couple more social links we can think on while we're in here related to Portable.
Greetings.
And yes, I guess tomorrow. There was the Fool social link, of course, as well as the Judgment social link, just reflective of the bonds between our team in totality. But we also had Ken's social link and Koromaru's social link in Portable, able to get closer and gain a greater understanding of the lives of Ken and Koromaru. You know, and Koromaru doesn't exactly lead the most exciting life, being a dog and all. But it was cool to get insight into what really motivates him and how he truly feels about the team. And I'm glad we were also able to make Ken feel like more of a part of the team, both in his linked episode and his social link. And of course, we had the linked episodes for Junpei, for Koromaru, for Akihiko in Reload, which I briefly touched on, but again, it was just nice to help them through their own issues, help them become more confident people, and look forward to tomorrow with greater clarity and sense of purpose. Well, that's it for Reminiscing. Let's move on. Today is the promised day. At last, we can confront Nyx at the top of Tartarus. And I suspect that once we enter Tartarus tonight, we won't be able to leave until the battle is over. Well, just one last daytime. And unfortunately, Tanaka still hawking the thing he was earlier this month. Salvation badges and disaster-proof backpacks. Sadly, we can't get them. Granted, would we really want salvation badges? Heading out into the dorm. Not really much to see here. The colors are so muted, though. Looks like nobody's really around. Guess there's nothing to do but head out into town, hit up Paulownia Mall, and you know what? Just one last time. Just one more strength boost for Siegfried before the final battle. Hey, Yukari and Mitsuru are here. Hey, I didn't expect to run into you here. Are you shopping too? Yep.
Oh.
Getting some supplies for tonight. Thanks for always being on top of everything. I should make sure my weapons are ready when I get back later. Well, let's do our best tonight. I joined Yukari to go shopping, but there's so many fashion trends and designers I don't know of. I certainly can't let myself forget all this now, can I? You know what? Why don't we just take a walk around and see where everybody is in town? Ken and Koromaru hanging out at Naganaki Shrine. Oh, Zeller-san. I'm taking Koromaru for a walk while I can, since I don't think there'll be time tonight. Oh, well, that was surprisingly understated, and yeesh, all the garbage. Can't believe the shrine has been so overwhelmed with all this, well, trash, for lack of a better way to say it. Yeah, Akihiko hanging out at Hagakure. How predictable. Ramune, good choice. Fighter needs their energy if they're gonna go all out in battle. And it doesn't hurt to share a meal that's so full of precious memories. Well, eat up. I want to get you going in tonight's battle on empty stomach. Well, I'm going to eat arcade games today, specifically Punch Boxer, so that Siegfried is just that much more potent in his sword swings when we get to Tartarus tonight. I suppose it's no surprise that Junpei is here. Oh, hey, funny seeing you here. Actually, did you know? This is where Chidori and I first met. She was sitting here drawing, and I decided to go up to her.
All right.
We gotta beat that last boss so that we can keep Jory's spot safe and sound. Absolutely. And maybe once she finally gets her own bearings in this crazy wild world she's found herself thrust into, maybe once again she can sit upon it and draw. Fuka and Igus just hanging out at the dorm, which kind of boring, honestly. I was reviewing everything to prep for tonight when Igus took me out for a breather. I think I'll keep at it after taking a short break. Don't push yourself too hard, Fuka, though. We'll need you in your top form for tonight. Thanks. I've got Igus with me, so I'll be fine. I can't fight on the front lines, so I want to be able to provide everyone with the perfect support. Thank you, Fuka. Much appreciated. Igus?
Oh,
Good morning. Everyone seems to be spending today being where they wish to be, doing what they wish to do. I've decided to wait for everyone to return in the meantime. Okay. And with that, well, just punch boxer time, really. Hey, it's real enough experience for me, okay? And with that, Siegfried's strength gets one more +3 boost.
All right. This will probably be the last time we'll meet like this. Is everyone ready?
Can I say something? I know we have to take Nyx down, but if you think about it, that means we'll be getting rid of the Dark Hour. Ryoji-kun mentioned that if he dies, our memories will disappear too. So if we defeat Nyx, we might not remember any of this.
All of our memories.
That's true. Our experiences with the Dark Hour and our personas, we may lose them.
But even if that happens, I want you all to know I won't forget you. Even if it robs us of all our memories together. I swear I'll still remember you all.
What do you mean, Yucatan? Of course we'll remember each other.
I won't forget you either.
Me neither.
I as well.
We won't ever forget.
Don't worry. Even if you do forget about us, I'll remind you.
Yeah, so don't worry about it.
Thanks, everyone.
Okay. In that case, let's promise to meet each other again after the battle. No matter what happens.
Good idea. But where should we meet?
I don't think it should be the dorm. We'll come back here anyways, if all goes well. Oh, right. Should we decide when we'll meet up too?
Yeah, it should be a special occasion.
How about on graduation day for the third years? When the Dark Hour vanishes, our memories might not disappear right away. So we shouldn't plan to meet too soon after the battle. And there's no other day that'll have more significance to us.
Wow, you're really smart, Yukari-san. Graduation day, huh? Well, that's easy enough to remember.
Yeah, that sounds like our best bet. All right, let's do it. Now, where should we meet up?
Ideally, a place where we can clearly see that peace has returned to the city.
Someplace with a good view, then?
Oh, how about the school roof?
Ah, nice idea. All right, the roof it is.
Remember how you all feel right now. No matter what happens, we'll keep our eyes on the future. We're not going to forget anything. And we will see each other again.
Right.
What?
Excited, aren't you? All right then. Let's get going.
Alright. It's business as usual. This is gonna be no thang.
Yeah.
Together. I'll do my best.
Don't let us down.
This'll be easy.
Yes.
Alright. Here we are. One last time, getting ready for our final operation. Of course, I think Or rather, I know, there's gonna be quite a bit to this game's ending sequence. Not something that I should really just roll into in this video, so why don't we update our save here? And yes, I did get 10 level ups from the Reaper. Akihiko got 12. Actually, he was level 78, so he must have been some weird thing with the experience scaling that just shot him up to level 93. Regardless, that's where we're at going into the final Tartarus expedition. Next time, we're gonna make our way to Nyx, and I hope nothing else gets in our way. Feel like I'm forgetting something, though. I'm sure it'll come back to me once we get there. As always, hope you enjoyed watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Until then, though, goodbye.
I don't dispute the doubts you've outlined, but it's my right to waste your time.